Computer.
Recording in progress. Welcome to Reset to Healthier Relationships Open Discussion Sunday night at 9. I am your course creator, Coach Glenda, here with course manager Rufus Carpenter. Rufus and I have created this format as a safe place to discuss trials, struggles, and victories in past and present relationships. This is a non-judgmental zone, and we encourage everyone to call, to participate, and speak their truth. So before we kick off tonight's discussion topic, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I was in an 8-year marriage that did not serve me well, where I was mentally, physically, and sexually abused, but God had a better plan for me. After 10 years of struggling, as a divorcee and a single mom of 2, I was able to get my life back on track. I moved from Virginia to Georgia, where I had no family and little to no friends, and started a brand new life. I want you to unbuckle your seatbelts, let your hair down, and talk as much as you like or as little as you like. Mr. Carpenter, can you let us know what our tonight's discussion topic is?
Good evening, everybody. Coach Glenda, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Tonight's topic is sex talk, navigating intimacy in a relationships. Once again, sex talk, navigating intimacy in relationships. That sounds like a good topic. Whoa, I'm ready. Matter of fact, I've got my pen and paper right now. I'm going to take me some notes tonight. So let's get ready to do this thing. Okay, Glenda, can you tell me a little bit about myself, or are you just going to go ahead and start next?
No, you can go ahead. Somebody might be online that has never heard from you or myself. So yes, go ahead and give it all to them.
Okay, once again, I'm Rufus Carpenter. I'm the co-host of this Sunday night at 9, and I enjoy being here every week. We're here every Sunday night from 9 o'clock, and we're here for about 30 to 45 minutes, and we can go an hour if we need to be, because sometimes the subjects get that important, and that I'm not gonna say feisty, but that gets that delightfulness. And the night's topic is, I'm sure, gonna be one of them. The night's topic: sex talk, navigating I can't even say the word now. Intimacy. I can't even say the word now.
It's okay.
Intimacy in relationships. Once again, my name is Rufus Carpenter. I'm the co-host, and my experience in this space is a little different than most. I came through this space by a journey that started as a little kid, being in a family of 14, and with mother and father, it was 16 in a house, and it was a 3-bedroom house with only 1 bathroom. And if you know anything about being together as a family, try living and sleeping in the bed with 4 of your siblings. And oh, if one of them is an occasional bedwetter, Jesus, you learn a thing or two about the essence of human connection. Fast forward, I was married 27 years to the same lady. And in that marriage, I learned forgiveness. I learned compromise. I learned a lot of lessons about communication and commitment. And if you know anything about being with someone that long, you get a deeper connection and a deeper understanding of each other. Okay, my story still didn't stop there. I was also in the military, where I was trained as an equal opportunity race relation leader, where I had the responsibility of dealing with any racial issues in my unit. So I've got a very diverse background in all different settings and environments for relationship. So tonight, I feel very comfortable bringing the male perspective to this conversation tonight. Okay, Glenda?
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Carpenter, for all of your input that you gave us thus far by sharing your past with us. But we want to keep it moving, and we want to start off with our topic. Now, Mr. Carpenter, did you want to continue?
Yeah, let me start it off. And the reason why I want to start off, because when you talk about intimacy, and especially sex talk, and the night's topic again, once again, is navigating infancy in relationships. I'm struggling with that word tonight because I'm thinking about some of the stuff that we're going to cover tonight in this. Because whenever you say start off with sex talks, that everybody's ears just get really big right at that part right there.
Yeah,
But
yours might have got big too, because you were stumbling over the words.
It did, because I'm thinking. But nothing happens without the intimacy. So navigating, I can't say the word again. in relationships, a little bit different. Okay, so but when you talk about that, you got to think about that. I know a lot of you might say that, hey, look, I'm not in a relationship. I don't even have sex on my mind. I don't think about it. So, Mr. Carpenter, I'm just going to sit this one out. If you do that, you're really going to lose a lot. Okay. Because when you think about it, I'm thinking about, let me give you the scenario, Glenda. Okay. Let me give you the scenario.
All right, talk to me.
Suppose you and let's say 3 of your friends decide y'all girls want to have a girls' night out. And you guys go to a club, restaurant, a bar, or wherever you go. Because if you go out and you guys go out and you're sitting there, you're eating, you're comfortable, you're talking, and you're planning and matter of fact, the purpose you went out that night was a girls' night, but you really went out to plan a summer vacation or summer trip. The girls decide you guys want to go somewhere to summer. So you're sitting there talking. Then all of a sudden, Glenda, you look up and you see across the room, this guy staring at you. And when you notice him, Glenda, you notice something happens. You look in his eyes and he look in your eyes. And you for a minute, you said, dang, that's a handsome little fella. Yeah. And then your girlfriend said, hey, come on, Glenda, get back in the conversation. What are you doing? What are you looking at over there? And then they look up and they see the guy. And then you get back because you feel some kind of way. So you get back in the conversation with your girlfriends. And then this guy get up and he goes to the bathroom, and going to the bathroom, he walks right beside you, and his thigh rub against your arm and your shoulder. And you look at him. When you look at him, he goes in the bathroom and you says, And you look to see that he looked back, and he didn't look back. So you spend the next 3 to 4 minutes looking at the bathroom door. You want to see him when he come out. So when he comes out the bathroom, his eyes and your eyes lock. And he stopped right in front of you, Glenda. And he says, hello. And then then he paused for a minute. And you look at him, then he look up at the other ladies. Hey, ladies, how y'all doing? Good evening. To the other ladies. So he's already separated you out. And then when he said hello to you, the way he said it and the way he looked at you made you felt some kind of, you felt a little chemistry. You felt a little something. But then he said, well, hey, look, you got y'all, I know y'all busy, y'all going through some things, but I just want to say hi. And I'm just going back over there. And he walks back over this place where he was sitting. And then your girlfriend said, Glenda, you know him? You know that guy? And you know what? No, I don't know him. So the first time, they said, why you look at him like that? So have anybody, hey, how's everybody? We got Ava, we got Carolyn, we got Cheryl, we got Tasha, and we got Emma, we got Joyce. Have anybody in the audience tonight had experience or seen an experience like that? Or kind of got an idea of what I was talking about? You can unmute your mic and talk.
I can say for myself, I have not experienced that. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat, trying to, put the, visualize what you were talking about. And I mean, it was something, but I think they both had something, what they call it, butterflies. Because it was an instant attraction, it was something about him and her, about their individuality that attracted the other one to the other. So, but I have never experienced that. I've been at a restaurant actually the early part of February, and I was just eating lunch with a couple of friends from church. And one of the sisters of the girl that I was with was like, why is this man just staring at Glenda all in her face and her mouth? And I was like, what are you talking about? Because I couldn't point out, I couldn't turn left or right to see who it was. He said, every time you move, that man is like, he can't even put food in. So I was like, well, I don't know what he's looking at because I'm tearing down his food right here. So if he find that attractive, woo, it don't take much to please him. But I've never, he never walked up to the table. He never brushed up against me, because I never knew who it was. The people that I was with noticed it. But they noticed his reaction because he kept dropping food. Every time he would go to put the food in his mouth, it would fall out. It would miss his mouth. So I just found it to be like, okay, but I didn't know who they were talking about. But I've never experienced exactly what you're talking about. But maybe someone in our audience tonight, they've experienced it and they want to share their, what happened with them.
Yeah, because I want to give everybody a chance to do this because this is important. This is kind of sets the night up. Anyone in our audience have had that experience, or you notice when you're at an event or something and somebody talk to you and just walk up to you and talk? Anybody ever noticed that at all in our audience?
They're very quiet tonight. I think they're looking for something.
Okay. Now if nobody's going to comment, I'll tell you why I brought that up. I brought that scenario up for because intimacy is amazing. Right. We talk about sex talk, but if we just talk about sex talk, sex itself is like two rocks colliding.
Okay.
It gets boring. It gets very boring. It's very boring. What makes sex work in relationships is the intimacy. That scenario I pointed out right then was 3 types of intimacy in one time. It was the physical intimacy when he brushed against Glenda's arm. And Glenda, when he brushed against your arm, trust me, being human, you're gonna get a charge. You will feel something. It'll be a little charge. You will feel something about that touch. A human touch is amazing, especially when it's coming from the opposite sex. And especially if you guys look in each other's eyes. That's the first thing. Emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy. I can't now. I'm all tongue tied now because this is a great subject. The intimacy is awesome, where you get to think, your emotions get to run away with you, and you get to think about it. You're saying, "Oh wow, oh wow." You think about it, and then it makes you feel really good. And then the third is that mental intimacy, and that's what really helps you out a lot. When you can think about that touch, when you can get in front of it, you can envision, that expectation and that desire. When you can think about it mentally, because intimacy is the bridge between your mind and your heart.
Right.
If that's the bridge between your mind and your heart, then we think about it. When you and a person, especially someone that maybe that you just met, or someone that you know long-term in a relationship, and that firework begins. Oh, wow. Intimacy is the thing that makes it all worth it. Because if the intimacy is not there, then it's just rocks. It's just rocks banging together.
Right.
Which gets boring. Okay. Now, any comments, Glenda, before we go into the further in the subject?
No, not at this moment.
No comment. Yes, go ahead.
Say something?
Go ahead.
Me, Sharon.
Oh, hey, Sharon. Good evening. How you doing?
Hey, Rufus, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Okay, now I was listening to you saying about the arm touch thing, and it's you got to feel something, but it's not like, well, I feel like it's really not like that. That natural attraction that you don't have nothing to do with, it has to meet. Like you said, when you look in each other's face or eyes, it's something that you don't even know is there. To me, that connects, because in experiences like that, like, I run into guys all the time. I'm very attractive, you know what I'm saying? So I run into guys all the time, but they don't interest me. It's something about that, something about that pool that, wasn't even thinking on that level, has to meet. And that's what makes it great to me.
Yes.
That's just my opinion.
Not a problem. Tasha, you have something to add?
I do. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing?
Tasha, we missed you last week.
The mind, I just totally, I'm in my last class of school, so I'll be graduating June the 9th, and I've been, crunch time. So But I do agree, about the intimacy and, but it's also that chemistry and that energy. Energy plays a big role even in marriages and relationships, because one has to realize that when you do meet that person and that chemistry is there, and on top of that energy, you're releasing your energy inside of her and vice versa. So
Mhm.
you have to make sure that energy does mesh with each other, because if you don't, then the outcome is not going to be a good outcome, in my opinion.
Mhm.
No matter how much the chemistry is there, if that energy is not there and you're not on that same frequency, then it's just nothing.
Right.
Coach.
You're correct, because because in order for that connection to be there, it first have to have that communication. You got to
Right.
communicate. It's got to be communicated, because that communication has to be there, that you and that person are on the same wavelength and you can relate. Because when it's something that you learn to share. When someone get in your personal space and they're in your space, it's like a dance. It's like a dance. When a person gets in your space and touch you, your heart rhythm goes up. You begin to beat, your heart beats faster. When the person back off from you, your heart starts going a little slower. When they move forward. And if you ever watch two people that met each other for the very first time and they were really into each other, if you watch somebody say something?
No, 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 no.
Okay, if you watch two people that for the first time, or a couple that really loves each other, it's almost they're standing there just talking and it look like they're dancing with each other. They'll go in and out each other's space, they'll rub each other's arm or touch each other's hair. And it's like a dance, like a rhythm to it. And you be saying, wow. And you look at their eyes, and if anybody walk by, you can see they're connected.
Right.
You can see that connection there. You can see that, like you say, the energy, the chemistry.
That frequency, they on that same frequency level.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's what you see, and that's what makes it work so well. And just think about it. If you're going to have sex with somebody, wouldn't you much rather have it with somebody that you click with?
Yes.
Someone that can get you to that point without even touching you?
Right.
Someone that you imagine, that already in your head, you've already had that dance of, hey, wow, you're already excited. You're building it there. Because you got to realize something. And I don't want to talk raw, so I'm trying to keep it kind of, because we might have a part 2 for the raw part, but this part is the intimacy, because I want to get the intimacy out first, because the intimacy is what builds that relationship over time, and that's what keeps that physical part from being boring, is the intimacy. When you can be intimate with somebody, and once again, there's 3 different types. It's the emotional, it's the physical where you touch, and it's intellectual where you're thinking about it. If you can put those 3 things together in a relationship, and oh, by the way, goodness gracious, when you get that physical part, you got something. Guys don't have a clue. I'm gonna be honest with you. Most guys, we don't have a clue. The ladies, you guys are much better in this arena than we are, because we have to get our cue from you. Because think about it. If we approach you and can't read your signals, or can't read your instincts, we're in trouble. Because if we can't, let's say, if we're out, whatever, if let's say I'm out with you, Glenda, and just picking Glenda now. Hey guys, I'm just picking Glenda to make the conversation easier. So bear with me here. If me and you're out, and let's say we're out having a date or something like that, how would I know when it's time?
When it's time for what?
Glenda,
That's right. I feel you, Glenda. I feel you. When it's time for what?
Well,
That's right. I feel you, Glenda.
What you talking about? What signal you what you talking
I know.
I
And
feel
I'm
her.
glad you answered that way. I'm glad you answered
Okay,
that way.
okay.
Because really, a lot of times, guys, we can't judge when a lady want to be intimate and when she want to go further than just plain dating. We can't judge a lot of times. We really don't have a clue.
Right.
And then if we come off the wrong way, it's like, man, it's like, this guy's weird. Or this guy's, he's kind
Or
of,
he's in a rush.
yeah,
Right.
or he's in a rush, or
That
he's
makes
kind of, he's kind of creepy. It's kind of creepy. So how do you know when your partner wants to take it further? What are some of the signs that a woman would give a guy that say, hey, let's take it a little further, or I want you to do a little bit more? You guys, am I making it kind of hard or easy here? Help me out. I'm a guy, so I'm good at this.
Oh.
Help me out. Somebody help me out here.
Okay,
I think it's when it's the like attachment and the attention. When he or she is displaying the attention and showing that individual that you are accepted and that you are loved and that, you know, I enjoy being with you, spending time with you, and, you know, and vice versa. I just think, you know, so one should know just by how that individual kicks off that energy, how you all are interacting with each other. You know, you're holding hands, you're cuddling, you're watching movies, you are, you know, enjoying each other's company, you know, every day y'all together. A light bulb got to come on somewhere. I mean, holding hands may lead to a rub on the back, may lead to a rub on the thigh, her hands on his chest, and then in his beard, and you know.
I just want to, and that's why I got my little note. That's why I got my little notepad and pen, because I wanted to make sure I didn't seem creepy. Because whose responsibility is it to initiate? Whose responsibility?
It's responsibility. If you two are feeling each other and you both are grown, it shouldn't be nobody's responsibility. I mean, if you both know what you want. If you want that intimacy, if you want to take that, you know, a step further, I feel like, you know, this is conversation that needed to been had before even taking that step to becoming intimate. And if this is what you both have chosen to do, then I don't think it's up to either one of you to decide whether or not let's, you know.
But you said something. You said both of you chosen, that's what you're gonna do. Okay, we haven't got to that part. How do we both choose that that's what we're gonna do? How do we get to that part where we both can choose?
It's a feeling.
I'm ready to say you don't choose it.
It's a feeling.
Just go.
Yeah, you feel it. Because again, you feel it.
I would like to say something.
Yeah, help me out.
Wait, one at a time, so we can. We're trying to learn. We're doing some training here. But who's that talking?
I would like to say something. This is Annette. I think your personal space is when you get into your personal space, that shows a lot, because you begin to get close up to each other. You don't stand off. You become more attached. You just get into your personal space, and you get into your personal space with your actions and with your communicating. You physically say it, and you show it by your body. You let them know. That's it.
Let me ask you a question. Have any man ever moved too quick?
Always.
I agree with that. Always. And can I say something, if y'all don't mind?
Go ahead, Sharon.
I get excited about this. Okay, Ruth, is like you were saying that maybe you said it wrong or something. Like you were saying, well, how will a man know when it's time or when she's ready? That's what I'm saying. I feel like the attraction that you talked about as far as the intimacy stage is either a mutual attraction that you don't have nothing to do with, it's just nature, or it's worked on or built in the relationship. Because I feel like if I don't feel that attraction or whatever, I'm not even gonna go out with the person or even take that person serious on that kind of level. Mm-hmm. So it's got to be an attraction that I don't have nothing to do with. We just feeling each other. We really and see something like that. To me, is worth working on and trying, because you're both at that level. But just to date somebody, and how would a man know when it's time and ready? See, if he got to figure that out or guess that, then that ain't the right relationship.
Why don't y'all just tell him?
My opinion.
Who said just tell him?
Octavia.
Who said just tell him? Who said that?
Octavia.
Oh my God!
I know that's right.
Okay, but listen, guys, because very few women will actually tell a man.
You're right.
Very few. A lot of women
wow.
feel that it's the man responsible. That's why I ask who responsibility is. A lot of
Well,
women.
in my
Can I
opinion,
can I
I
say
don't think
something on
it's,
that?
I don't
Who's
think
that?
it's, I don't think it's a particular person's, a man's, I don't think all the time the man's supposed to lead, like initiating, you know, intimacy. I feel as if you by your conversation starts to change. Your body language towards each other starts to change, and that's a indicator that, okay, maybe we're going to take this to another level. But you know, whether, you know, a man initiating, I don't think that, I think you both can do it all both at the same time, because your conversation and your touching starts to change. The way you say your goodbyes and your kisses before you depart and go to your separate homes, all that starts to change. It's not, you know, all right, I'll talk to you later. You know, maybe it's a longer kiss. It's a more deeper kiss.
Okay, Tasha, you want to say something, Tasha? You had your hand up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm agreeing, you know, because it like I said, it still is based, it goes back to being based on that deep connection that you all have. And you know, both partners has to have an understanding as to where they want to take it to the next level. So if you're on those deep levels and you're on the same frequency and you have, you know, the energy is there, and like you say, each time you see each other, you just smile like a kid in a candy store. You know, and every day you see each other, you know, you get the bubble guts, and you just get so giddy because you enjoy seeing him, and in hopes that it's reciprocated by, you know, your partner.
Right.
So, you know, when that connection is there, you know, you want that person to be in your space. You want that person, you know, to smell you and you smell him, and hang out and enjoy each other. Because intimacy does not always have to be sexual. Intimacy could just be conversation. Because if you're intellectual, you have on the intellectual level, and you all can just talk and conversate, that right there can make you hornier than a toad. Because he can talk to you. Y'all can communicate. Y'all can talk about any and everything with no judgment.
Right.
Yes.
So intimacy comes up on, it's a big umbrella that falls up on the intimacy. It doesn't always have to be, oh, we got to go to bed with each other. No, we can just lay there. Just feeling his energy and her energy is like, wow. All night you just cuddling all night, not doing anything. And that feels better than sometime having sex.
It sure does.
All right, let's
vibing outside of the bed.
Sharon said something before when she said something about she's not feeling that with him. So she's saying she's gonna put the guy, that one thing you call it the friend zone. You get thrown to the friend zone. So
yeah, or the associate zone.
Yeah, the friend zone.
Of course. Yeah, because everybody's not on that energy. So you know whether or not you want to move forward with the person. You know this, and you know whether or not you want to be like, hey, you know, let's just be friends, associates, whatever you want to call it. But you know whether or not you want to take that intimacy a step further, or just chilling or whatever. You know that. Both parties should know that.
Okay. Anybody that got any more comments before we get, and this is the understand intimacy part we're just talking about right now. Then next we're gonna go into the communication part of intimacy. Now, anybody else want to chime in on the part about understanding intimacy? Because like Tasha said, it's not just it's physical, it's emotional, and it's intelligence. And those are the things you do, the dance that goes on in your head as well as the dance that's in your body. Those are the things that really make a difference in intimacy. Okay, anybody want to say before we go into the communication part? All right, let's go into part 2, communication. Communication and being vulnerable. Vulnerability is the same. Because sometimes a lot of us has been trained that you shouldn't be weak. And then a lot of women are trained they got to be strong. And we get confused. There's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to intimacy and sex and romance and love. A lot of that's so let's get some of this. Let's kind of clear the air of some of this. Let's communicate. And I think Tasha, you said somebody should just tell them. It wasn't you. I'll tell you, said just tell them. Just tell them you want it. And that might be a great thing. And to some people that might be a turn off. Some people might think, well, that's all you're talking to me for? It's more to me than that.
Right.
And this is why communication is so very important in dating and relationships, and whether it's just longtime friends or whether it's friends with benefits. The communication part is the key, having to communicate. What do you do if the communication is not understood? What do you do? What do you do if you have somebody that you want and this guys, I'm just trying to get it all out. So don't say, Rufus, you kind of weird. let's say it's somebody that you really want to be intimate with and you want to have that sexual connection. And this guy just don't seem to get it. I know you said, Sharon, he's not the one, but Sharon, this is the one, but he just don't get it. What do
Well,
you?
he's not the one. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Yeah, no. If you saying, well, he is the one, and I'm saying to myself, what if he's not the one? If he's the one, he gonna know it, and I'm gonna know it. We both gonna know it. That's what I'm saying. That it's gonna be something that we can't even control.
But he's saying, what if he's slow? He's not getting it.
So, he ain't gonna be that slow, trust me, because I'll be giving up enough signals or signs to whatever his handicap or slowness is. He will be able to relate, in whatever which way it go.
Okay.
Sharon, why the man got to be handicapped?
I mean, that's why I took it. That's why I took that. Look, I know it. That's why, but I did. That's why I took that out of there and said whatever his slowness may be, he'll catch on because I'll feed him, and then whatever he's slow at or can't take right, I'll make it so he would know.
Yes, and communication is the glue. That's what makes all different in the world. You got to communicate with the person. Because when you start communicating and start letting a person know and you start actually taking the time to be intimate with somebody, that's a foreplay that's you can't beat it. Like I said, intimacy is that bridge between the brain and the heart. That connection, that intimacy gets you there. And if you do it right, every man and every woman on this call would know it. If it's right, if it's done right. If it's done wrong, you know that too. You definitely know that if it's done wrong.
You got that right.
Let's talk about anybody want to share a scenario that and don't have to be about you, but anybody want to share a scenario about intimacy or about sexual type innuendos or like that? Anybody want to share anything? Because I hate to be the only one talking.
No. Well, how about you share one?
I shared one about the brushing.
That's funny.
Okay, let's say when it's time. Let's say Andre had a beautiful one when we started talking a long time ago. When he said this guy had a woman come over his house, and instead of taking her out, spending a few dollars on her, he had to come over his house and they sit up there and looked at TV. They looked at the movie on the sofa, I think, and somebody else was in the house. So now, if that was the case, that environment did not set up. Matter of fact, they're looking at the color purple, he said. That environment did not set up an intimate moment for them. Because the very first date, he invites the lady to his house. She comes over, they sit on the sofa, look at the movie, and they have someone else at the house. So if that was supposed to go to the next level, or you trying to establish that connection, if you're trying to get intimate, that was the wrong place and the wrong time. It wasn't going to go anywhere. You wouldn't even get to know who that person is, because you wouldn't have the chance to talk. You wouldn't have the chance for you guys to communicate openly and honestly from the heart. You wouldn't have that chance to feel that person out.
Right.
So intimacy would never even enter into it.
Right. And Color Purple isn't a romantic movie.
Correct. So that environment was bad. Now, when I gave this scenario earlier about being in the whether it was a bar, restaurant, or club, and Glenda and her three other girlfriends were sitting there and they were talking, and the dude looked across the room and saw Glenda, and Glenda looked at him. And he got up. When he got up, he brushed his thigh against her shoulder.
Yeah, you feel something there. Okay.
So what, Sharon?
No. I was agreeing. You know how I talk to myself. But look, can I say this one thing? I ain't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
Go ahead.
Y'all remember in the movie Soul Food? Not Soul Food, but Waiting to Exhale. Y'all remember when what was his name? The actor Spike Lee and not Spike Lee, but
Oh, you mean I
Angela
know you're talking
Bassett,
about. I know
Angela
Wesley
Bassett,
Snipes. Wesley Snipes and that lady
Wesley
and
Snipes.
West like
Yeah,
laid down at night.
right. They just talk. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
intimacy. Good, a good
Yes.
example.
That is a great example because he was married and his wife was invalid
Right.
or sick or something,
Yes,
and
yes.
he hadn't messed with his wife in a couple
Yeah,
years.
and he didn't want to. Yeah, but he still loved her. Yes, that was a
Yeah,
good
so he
example.
saw Angela Bassett and she was as beautiful as all outdoors, and so they just cuddled all night long.
Yeah.
That was very much
That was
so.
a good, very good example.
Yeah, yes. Matter of fact, that was all three of together. That was physical because he got behind her and held her when they were asleep. And then they were talking. So they were
Yep.
talking, and they'll talk intellectual. And then both of them was emotionally charged.
Right.
So that was three types of intimacy right there. And the physical was the touch.
Right.
And they didn't have sex, and both of them woke up, both of them whole life changed. That moment changed both of their lives. So that was a good one, Sharon. Thank you for sharing that. That was really
You're
nice.
welcome. You're welcome.
So that deal with communication. Anybody else want to talk about communication and vulnerability? And the reason why vulnerability is on the part of communication, because you have to feel protected. You have to feel secure in letting somebody know how you feel. And a lot of times people don't like to share because they feel weak. Because they says, here's what a lot of the people in relationship coaching says, that when a guy and a girl meet for the first time, the guy shouldn't let the lady know how emotional he's involved with her. Because they say, and this is you guys comment, they said because a lot of times a woman don't want an emotional man. A woman don't want to know that this emotional man, because a woman want to feel like there's a challenge there. But if this guy put his cards on the table, time they get together, then there's no challenge. It's like he just like a set like dominoes just fell over, boom. Any comments about that?
Well, men are usually the ones that want the challenge.
I don't know.
Well,
I know women.
Women too. Oh, I
okay.
hate a weak man.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of men being hunters.
Yeah, men are being hunters, but a lot of time women will shut you down if you weak.
You
if
sure
you
will.
I'm telling you, will shut you
My
down.
preference is I just need you to be human and realistic. That's like one of my major requirements. And I mean, I don't want no man that's gonna cry or cry all the time. Like we're sitting watching a movie, they bust out crying because oh man, really? But I want you to I wanted to know that you have feelings. Like I ain't like what you said because that hurt my feelings. I want you to be honest. I want you to be realistic because you don't have an S on your chest. You're not Superman. And I want you to, just because I come off maybe as a alpha female, it doesn't mean that, I don't want a man to come into my life or a man that can take charge and know his role. But, you have to be you have to be realistic because I've learned in my relationships that men got feelings too, whether they tell you up front or not. They take a lot of stuff and keep it deep down inside, and they don't really elaborate, or they don't like to talk. They keep everything bottled up. That's why they get a lot of headaches. It's not having sex. It's because they keep a lot of stuff bottled up.
Well, Andre said something to Tasha. Tasha, you talk first, and then I'll answer Andre's question. Go ahead, Tasha.
I think being vulnerable is that you're coming into a situation being your authentic self. So when you said about, and it's so true that, men bottle up things. And again, a lot of stuff stems back to when you're younger. When you're a little boy, the little boy fall down, oh, don't cry. You're a boy, suck it up. Oh, you got a boo, don't cry. You're a boy, suck it up. No, cry. That shit hurt. It hurts. It's okay to cry. So when you get older as a man, now you like, I can't cry. Because if I cry, I'm weak. No, nigga, cry. It lets me know you have something that's called emotion. I want you to come to me as your authentic self. Show me who you are. let me know whether or not I want to deal with that. Do I want you to cry all the time? No, but if something is hurting you, bothering you, cry.
Right.
You know, don't cry, don't hold stuff up. If that movie is sad, damn it, cry. It was sad to me too. I'm over here. I mean, if it's sad, then you cry. But it's so bad that most women, not all women, does not want a man to be their authentic self, because you're not your authentic self. So you're both coming to each other with a mask on, or with your arms stretched out. This is how close you're gonna get to me. That's it. I'm not going to be my authentic self. I'm going to be somebody else, because if I come to you being authentically me, you may not be able to handle that. So it still goes back to this communication. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to communicate, because you want your partner to be on the same frequency as you. And I'm going to keep saying frequency. Look up the term frequency, because you want to be on the same frequency. You don't want to be like this, you know. You don't want to be
unequally yoked.
Yeah. Right. You want to be on that same level. So coming into a relationship, or even just getting to know each other, be your authentic self. It's hard to come, it may be hard because I don't know you, you don't know me, but that's why we're going out. That's why we're hanging out. That's why we're meeting. That's why we're going to dinner. So we can start to open up. And let me show you who I really am, because I can't wear a mask. When you not being your authentic self, that's almost like you're lying. And when you lie, you have to keep up that lie. That's a job. I already have a full-time job. I can't, that's a lie. It's a lie. Right. So just be your authentic self, and then you see where it goes, because again, he knows what he wants at the door. Right. He already knows whether or not you're going to be a placeholder, a swordfish, or a keeper. He already knows that. He already knows. Yeah, swordfish.
What is?
Or a keeper. Okay. Well, just a little fish you play with and then throw back in the water.
Oh, okay.
Or a placeholder. People that say, I've been with you for 10 years and you still ain't put a ring on it because you're a placeholder. Okay. Yeah, you're a placeholder. So, but if you're a keeper, everybody in your family gonna know who that person is.
Exactly.
Because you're a keeper.
Right.
And this gonna be my wife or my husband.
Right.
So it's just so much goes into everything you talk about, Rufus. I'm trying to told you, honey.
Now, Andre's brought up a good point. What's the man's role? What's the man's role? Andre brought it up, because a lot of times especially if you got a dominant man, if you got a man that's sure of himself, got his own, got confidence, and he knows, like Tasha said, he knows what he wants. When he see that woman, he's a mystery. He becomes a mystery, that woman, because a dominant man go by the beat of his own drum a little bit. And a lot of times a woman can't read that dominant man, because she's like, wow. She's like, and you can help me out, guys, ladies, help me out, because I'm saying a lot of times when you talk to a man that he knows what he wants, mm-hmm. and he kind of guides you. If the man is a guy that's really a dominant male, he guides you. Okay. I'm not saying he take all your choices, but he, instead of asking you, he gives you a lot of choices. And I'm not saying he's telling having you jump off a bridge.
Make suggestions. Kind of stuff.
Yes, well, suggestions. Well, is it suggestions, or he is
the leader. He is the leader. When he's a dominant male, he's the leader. He's the leader of the relationship, and he's the leader in when it comes to decision making. So if he's dominant, that's what dominance means. Dominance means telling, and you obey. I don't want to be like, you're a dog or whatever, but that's what dominance means, especially when it comes to relationships. If he's a dominant male, he's going to be the leader in a relationship. Not saying that, you don't have no say so, but if he's dominant, then yeah, if he's a dominant man, now all men are not dominant.
Right.
Correct.
But if you run across a male and you also happen to be in a relationship and he's dominant, then yes, he's going to lead you, but you will hope that when he leads you, he guides you in a spiritual way and in a spiritual guidance. And how he leads you, it won't be like you're second guessing what he's doing and how he's leading you.
And if he's the right man, you will want him to lead you, and you will follow. because you
Without
missed the
hesitation.
route step. If somebody had a song talking about moving, he moved just like that. And that's the way it is. You guys are what they call lockstep. Because that's the man, that man, he has your interests at heart. He's not running amok with you. He's actually taking you somewhere. And that and normally most women say that man's a mystery. And that mystery about that man is what's, if you ever read these romantic novels that they sell in stores and about the hero of the story, most of them are dominant males. Those are dominant males, and those books, and women, well, some women buy those books all the time because of that. And if you ever look at, matter of fact, you ever look at movies, and you ever look at the westerns and gangster movies, that roughest guy always had a beautiful lady. They lead. They're leaders, and that's part of being a leader. And I'm going to say this, and this might not help my case or not, but I'm going to say it to get to make my point. Donald Trump, he has his thing. His thing is he's caught up thinking that he's a dominant male, but he's not really. But he wants the life of a dominant male. He wants to live that life so bad that he's going overboard with it. And he don't have the charisma, he don't have the charm to actually pull it off. So that's why he's always getting in trouble because of that. But that's the role he wants to be, that leading man role, but he don't fit the bill. So it don't fit him. Okay. But that's what he wants to portray. That's what he wants to portray the whole world that he is, and he ain't.
Right. He wants people to believe that he has the power and influence over everybody, but he doesn't have the power nor influence.
That's what a dominant male has. A dominant male has that.
Right, and he's a wannabe.
Yes, he's a wannabe, right. And that's how I used him, because he wants to be with the beautiful and the best and all this, but he can't. That's why he's in so much trouble, because he's not that person.
He don't have the character, or yeah.
You can't fake that. That's
right.
Authentic. When I think Tasha said, be original, be your authentic self.
Your authentic self, yes.
That's the difference. Okay, we're at 9:47, so let's go into the third part of this, because we want to make sure we get it all. And we want to get nurturing intimacy in a long-term relationship. In a long-term relationship, how do you do that? How do you nourish it in a long-term relationship? What are some of the things you do to keep it going strong? What are some of the things or some of the strategies that you can use to make sure that you and your boo, or you and whoever, you guys feel that fire is always there. It's never boring.
Date nights.
Date nights, because they said 98% of women cheat because they don't have that intimacy.
Well,
it's
you
like,
said, what was the
percentage? I know you didn't.
I'm gonna say it right. 98% of the women that do cheat, not saying 98% of women cheat, but 98% of the women that do go out there and cheat, the women that do go out there and cheat, 98% of them says they cheat because of the intimacy and the sex.
Oh.
They say when the intimacy and the sex
agree.
That's why they cheated.
Agree.
I think the key to nourish a relationship is you have to continuously know what makes that individual happy. You have to be anticipating their wants and their needs. You have to be able to still fulfill them as if y'all just met, but the first day y'all met. So you cannot not stop what you did to have that intimacy and to keep the intimacy going. But you want to make sure that each partner is happy. You want to continue to make them happy. And that could be just doing small things, like she said, go out on date night, go for a walk by the water, travel, go somewhere, so
whatever
you want to continue to make them happy.
Get the person, you have to keep that up.
Yeah.
Right. I was going to say be observant and something else. It tripped my mind. Be observant and be a good listener.
Yes.
And what we call that relationship check-ins. You want to check in. You want to see. You want to do a pit stop on the road of your relationship and your journey to find out, do you still love me? What are some of the things? What are some of the things that I need to continue to do? What are some of the things I need to stop doing? And what are some of the things I need to start doing?
Well, can I butt in a second? Oh.
Go ahead,
Sorry.
go ahead, Sharon, and then after
okay,
she,
okay, I'm gonna be quick. Okay, you said 98. Statistics said 98% of women cheat because of the sex. I think 98% of women cheat because they get bored.
No, Sharon, I'm gonna say it right because I might have confused you.
Right.
98% of the women that do cheat. It may be 13% of the women that cheat, but 98% of the ones that do cheat.
Okay, I get what you're saying now.
98% of the ones that do cheat, they cheat because of the sex and the intimacy is not there.
Well, my personal opinion, I think that's probably why men cheat. 98% that do cheat, that's on a man's level. I think the women get bored. We get bored. I get bored with the relationship.
And that's correct, because they get bored because it's like two rocks hanging. There's no intimacy there. It's like two rocks.
There's no progress.
Right. I get bored.
Yep. And that's why intimacy is that bridge between the heart and the mind. That's what keeps it there long term. And we in a relationship stage, you got to have check-ins. You got to check in along that road and make sure that you still love each other. You both are on the same path. You both have some of the same missions, some of the same concerns. You both like doing some of the same things. You get hobbies of the same interests. You start doing those things, the date nights. You start taking moments that are special to you guys. Start going on trips. All kind of stuff. There's so many ways that you can pull this thing back in if it ever gets out of whack. And that's very important. Like things like dancing, like hiking, cooking. There's so many things you can do to create those memories and those experiences that will last a long time in your relationship. Because a relationship is two people. And one of the most important things I got to tell you about relationships is that you have to do the self-care. You have to take care of yourself too. Because if you got an empty cup, you can't fill jack. If your cup is empty, you can't do nothing for me. For you to fill me, you got to have a full cup. Right. And that's self-care. You got to take care of yourself. And that means your hairdo, that means your nails, or whatever it is. Got to be that. Go ahead, Tasha.
I also think that too, to keep the relationship full of nourishments is uplifting each other, speaking positivity towards each other, being supportive. If he loses his job, that's not the time that you beat him down.
Right.
You know, if she loses her job, that's not the time for you to beat her down.
Yes.
You know, you have to be supportive. You know, be supportive. I got you. You know, something is going to come through. You know, just speak words of encouragement. Because once you speak, again, your thoughts can make you or break you. So whatever you manifest into a relationship or whatever you manifest into the universe, that's what's going to kick back to you. So when you're in a relationship, you want to be able to speak uplifting words and positive words to your spouse. And, you know, that's the biggest communication. That's the biggest part of, you know.
Yeah, she touched on the 5 love languages. That's what she's talking about, affirmations. She's talking about the 5 love languages. You haven't gotten that book, please get that book. If you haven't gotten that book, get that book, 5 love languages, because that teaches you how a person wants to be loved and how you want to be loved. And you want to share that with your partner so your partner know how to approach you, how to come to where you are. Okay? So those are some important things. Now, we're getting to the last few minutes of this. We're going to bring this in. Anybody got any comments they want to bring up before we start reeling this thing in right quick?
Well, I did want to say that is why your selection process is very important when you're dating, especially at, you know, a certain maturity age, like maybe before 30, but, you know, at least 30 on up, because, you know, when you start getting into a lifetime partner or a destiny partner, you know, you have to be, like we talked about it before, you have to be equally yoked, even on an intimacy level as well as sex level, inside the bed and outside the bed. You gotta, you know, like Mr. Carpenter was saying, it's that dance that you're doing, you know, when y'all brush up against each other in the kitchen, or when you're going down the hallway doing laundry. It's that instant connection, that vibing that you're always doing. And I just really think that in your selection process at a mature age, when you take pride and you pay attention to a lot of stuff, you can do the process of elimination easily right out the gate. Because you, like I've heard on the call tonight, you know, a man already knows what they want. A woman really knows what she already wants. And if you kick off maybe in the first 3 months, or maybe the first 30 days talking about sex, whether it's the male or the female, that is very unattractive. Especially if the other person is like, oh, wow, you're rushing things. You know, what's been going on with you? How have you been taking care of yourself prior to today? You know, and it's a major turnoff. But when it's time to, you know, get into that physical connection, you both know. It's something that happens automatically. It's that instant attraction. It's the look that you give each other with your eyes. It's the way you touch, because nothing will be the same anymore. That's all I had to say, Mr. Kaufman.
Okay. Anybody else got anything to say before I you don't mind if I wrap us up?
Good meeting.
Okay, in wrapping up the night's discussion about intimacy and relationships, let's talk about what we've kind of learned a little bit here tonight. Communication is key. Communication is key. Intimacy goes beyond the physical. The physical is good, but it's emotional, it's intelligent, and those experimental connections that make all the difference in a relationship. You have to communicate honestly. You have to be vulnerable. Whether you want to be true to your partner, you got to let your partner know who you are in that relationship. If something's wrong, communicate it. If something don't feel right, communicate it. Take those moments and find things that you guys can do together. Because when I was married, me and my wife, believe it or not, we start gardening. We start doing flowers and stuff in the yard. We had so much fun. And matter of fact, my kids even got involved with it. As a matter of fact, my middle son, now he has a lawn care business from what he learned me and his mom was doing. So you never know how your family comes together until you start working as a family, especially doing those intimate things together with you and your spouse or significant other, or your boo, or whoever you call special in your life. So do those things. And once again, this is got to be something that you understand. Intimacy is more than a physical. So let's say perhaps one of you get to where you can't do those physical things anymore. You can't have that sex or that part of
Right.
how do you continue to live? How do you continue to live? That's intimacy. Then when you can't have the physical intimacy, the emotional and the intelligent intimacy is what's important. How do you reach that partner? How do you stay with that partner? How do you stay comfortable all over that time? Because like Sharon said, that movie when Wesley Snipes and Angela, when they slept together that night, they didn't get physical. I mean, no more than just holding each other. They didn't have sex, but they had a beautiful night. And like apparently that moment still stuck in Sharon's mind, is still stuck in my mind. So it touched. We weren't even there, but it touched us. So we felt that. All right, it's been fun. It's been real. Every Sunday night at 9, we get together for this. And the setting and the framework is that it's like you have 20 of your girlfriends in the living room, and you guys get to talk about relationship type issues. And it's a safe space. Sometimes just hearing yourself say what's on your mind is very therapeutic. Sometimes just getting it out of you. Because if you don't get it out of you, it's like toxin in your body. You want to do that. And especially subjects like tonight, like sex. Sex is something we mess up all the time as people. And our churches and a lot of places aren't teaching this kind of stuff. So we need to get out. We need to have an open dialect. So men and women need to talk those open dialects and talk about what's in your heart and what's in your mind. Okay. Next week, you guys, same place, same time. I was gonna give y'all a topic for next week, but I'm gonna surprise you. I'm gonna surprise you. All right, Glenda, let's take it home. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Tasha. Thanks, Ava. Thanks, Carolyn. Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks, Melissa. Hey, cuz, how you doing? Unmute.
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Glad to see you make it tonight. Oh, yeah. You know what? When I first saw your name, I got just nervous. I couldn't even speak my words. You messed me up. And glad and who,
Hey, Rufus.
whoever else back there. Hey, thank you for coming tonight. We're glad to have you. You are
It
hey,
was good.
Octavia.
It was
Hey,
good
hey,
tonight.
Barbara. Hey, Andre. Hey, Angela. You guys are making this thing an event. We're gonna grow this thing. We've got a YouTube channel to come out. We've got a website to come out. You are giving us opportunity to do a lot of great things. So we appreciate you. Thanks for being a part of the audience. Until next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.
Good night, with John Boy.
Okay, girl. I love you too, by the way.